goodness and good morals have evolved through history. From the earliest days of human cooperation to our complex modern ethical systems, the story of morality is a journey through time, culture, and the very essence of what makes us human. This exploration reveals how our understanding of right and wrong has transformed alongside civilization itself, influenced by philosophical thought, societal needs, and the challenges of an increasingly interconnected world. We will trace this evolution, from ancient codes of conduct to contemporary debates, highlighting the enduring principles and radical shifts that have shaped our collective moral compass. Chapter 1. The Origins of Morality in Early Humans. Before written laws, before philosophy, before organized religion, morality emerged from something far more fundamental: the basic human need to survive together. The dawn of moral thinking began not in temples or lecture halls, but around shared campfires and collaborative hunts. This transition from mere instinctual behavior to cooperative, reasoned action marked a pivotal shift in human evolution. It was through these early social agreements and shared understandings of good actions that benefited the group, that the first threads of ethical frameworks were woven, setting the stage for all subsequent moral philosophies and societal structures. From survival to cooperation, the birth of morality. Around 2 million years ago, a remarkable shift occurred in human evolution. Early Homo species began developing cooperative foraging patterns that set them apart from their closest relatives. Unlike chimpanzees, who competed fiercely for every scrap of food, early humans discovered something revolutionary: working together yielded better results for everyone. This unique form of group living, characterized by shared intentions and mutual reliance, marked a crucial divergence from purely competitive primate behaviors. Michael Tomasello's groundbreaking research illuminates this pivotal transformation. His work demonstrates that early humans created a fundamentally new social logic, one based on interdependence rather than dominance. This simple principle became the foundation of human morality. It wasn't rooted merely in kinship bonds or reciprocal favors, but in genuine collaborative necessity. When your survival depends on the group's well-being becomes your well-being. This interdependence created the first moral imperative: we must take care of each other because we literally cannot thrive alone. This fundamental principle of interdependence fostered the intricate social structures, shared norms, and advanced cultural practices that define human civilization. Morality as mutual survival strategy. The earliest forms of goodness emerged not from abstract thinking but from practical necessity. Humans who cooperated survived, and those who didn't perished. This foundational principle laid the groundwork for complex moral systems, embedding altruism and fairness into the fabric of early human societies. It shaped group dynamics, encouraging behaviors that reinforced collective well-being and established norms of reciprocal aid and shared responsibility, ultimately becoming the template for the intricate ethical frameworks that define human civilization. Chapter 2. The Moral Sense and Human Uniqueness. As humans evolved, something extraordinary happened. We didn't just develop bigger brains, we developed brains capable of imagining consequences, weighing alternatives, and making choices based on values rather than mere instinct. This cognitive leap transformed survival cooperation into something far more profound: a genuine moral sense. It allowed us to move beyond simple reciprocity, fostering empathy and enabling the development of abstract moral concepts like justice, fairness, and compassion. This expanded capacity meant considering the well-being of others, even those outside our immediate kin, and establishing complex ethical frameworks that transcend basic survival instincts. Biology meets culture. The moral sense emerges. Part 1. The Acceptation Theory. Francisco J. Ayala's revolutionary work explains that morality evolved as an acceptation, a trait that developed for one purpose but became valuable for another. Human intellect, which evolved for problem-solving and survival, became the foundation for moral reasoning. Part 2. 3 unique capacities. Humans uniquely possess the ability to anticipate consequences of actions before taking them, make sophisticated value judgments about right and wrong, and consciously choose between alternative courses of action based on ethical principles. Part 3. Culture takes the wheel. While the capacity for morality is biological, moral codes themselves are cultural products. They've evolved, adapted, and transformed over millennia, shaped by geography, religion, politics, and countless social forces. The brain and morality. The human brain represents one of evolution's most dramatic achievements. At over 3 times the size of our closest primate relatives, our brains enabled something no other species could achieve: complex social cognition at massive scale. This neurological expansion didn't just make us smarter, it made us capable of understanding others' perspectives, imagining future scenarios, and holding abstract concepts like justice, fairness, and dignity in our minds. We could think about thinking itself. Language and culture then amplified these capabilities exponentially. Each generation could build upon the moral insights of the previous one, creating increasingly sophisticated ethical frameworks. Chapter 3. Philosophical Foundations of Goodness. As civilizations flourished, humans began to systematically examine the nature of goodness itself. Philosophers across cultures wrestled with fundamental questions. What makes an action right? What defines a good life? Can moral truths be universal, or are they relative to culture and circumstance? These profound inquiries shaped legal systems, ethical codes, and societal norms, becoming a cornerstone of human civilization. While some traditions sought universal principles, others explored the nuanced interplay of virtues, duties, and consequences within specific cultural contexts. Ancient to Enlightenment. Defining the good. Plato's perfect forms. Plato envisioned the good as the ultimate reality, a perfect ideal existing beyond our physical world. For him, goodness wasn't just a quality, it was the foundational truth underlying all existence. Everything good in our world is merely a reflection of this perfect form. Kant's universal law. Immanuel Kant revolutionized ethics with his categorical imperative: before acting, ask yourself whether you'd want everyone to act that way. This principle elevated morality beyond consequences or desires, grounding it in rational consistency and universal applicability. Aristotle's functionality. Aristotle brought philosophy down to earth, linking goodness to purpose and function. A good knife cuts well, a good musician plays beautifully. For humans, a good life means fulfilling our unique potential, living according to reason and virtue, achieving eudaimonia or human flourishing. Eudaimonia is thinking, which includes living a good life according to goodness and self-worth, and self-thinking in what you are born to do. Dignity and respect. Kant further emphasized that moral goodness stems from inner worth and the inherent dignity of all humans. We must treat people as ends in themselves, never merely as means to our own goals. This principle became foundational to modern human rights. This principle, the categorical imperative, challenged humanity to think beyond personal gain and consider the universal implications of every moral choice. It remains one of the most influential ideas in ethical philosophy, profoundly shaping modern concepts of human rights and international law. Its emphasis on rational duty and universal applicability continues to inform ethical decision-making frameworks across various fields. Chapter 4. Morality through history, power, culture, and change. Not all philosophers accepted the idea of universal, unchanging moral truths. Some began to recognize that morality itself has a history, that what societies consider good changes with time, circumstances, and the distribution of power. From the divine right of kings shaping medieval ethics to colonial powers imposing their values on conquered lands, history demonstrates how dominant groups often define what is considered virtuous or acceptable. This historical lens reveals that moral principles are not static but are often reflections of underlying social, economic, and political dynamics. Understanding this has been crucial for modern movements advocating for social justice, human rights, and decolonization, as it challenges inherent biases and calls for a more inclusive and equitable framework of ethics. Morality as social construct and power. The challenge to absolute morality. Friedrich Nietzsche and the ancient sophist Thrasymachus raised unsettling questions. Is morality really about truth and goodness, or is it a tool wielded by the powerful to control others? Thrasymachus argued that justice is simply the advantage of the stronger, while Nietzsche saw traditional morality as a system created by the weak to constrain the strong. These critiques forced a reckoning with an uncomfortable reality: moral systems don't exist in a vacuum. They emerge from specific historical contexts, shaped by who holds power and what serves their interests. The fluidity of moral standards. Throughout history, morality has shifted dramatically with social needs, political desires, and cultural contexts. Behaviors once considered virtuous become vices, actions once condemned become celebrated. Gender equality, once unthinkable, is now a moral imperative in many societies. Historical events reveal how quickly moral circles can expand or contract. After 9/11, research showed Americans' compassion surged, but primarily for fellow Americans. Group identity powerfully shapes who receives moral consideration and who doesn't. This recognition doesn't mean morality is meaningless, rather, it reveals that moral progress requires constant vigilance and willingness to expand our circles of concern beyond familiar boundaries. Chapter 5. Modern Shifts in Moral Priorities. The 20th and 21st centuries have witnessed profound transformations in what societies value morally. Through data analysis of literature, surveys, and cultural artifacts, researchers have mapped these shifting priorities with remarkable precision. Digital communication, rapid globalization, and impactful historical events like world wars and social movements have collectively reshaped our understanding of ethics, emphasizing universal human rights, environmental stewardship, and social justice more than ever before. Compassion and judgment in the 20th and 21st centuries. Rising compassion. Since the 1980s, care, compassion, and concern for safety have grown dramatically in importance. Language emphasizing empathy and emotional support has increased in books, media, and public discourse. Declining deference. Respect for traditional authority figures has declined significantly. People increasingly question institutions, demand transparency, and expect leaders to justify their power rather than assuming automatic legitimacy. Loyalty's resurgence. Paradoxically, while institutional authority wanes, loyalty to family and nation has intensified. People seek belonging and identity in primary groups even as they distrust larger structures. Changing moral priorities over time. Analysis of millions of books published over the past century reveals a clear trend. Words related to compassion, care, empathy, and emotional well-being have increased dramatically, especially since 1980. This linguistic shift mirrors deeper changes in how societies conceptualize moral obligations. It suggests a growing emphasis on individual well-being and a collective sensitivity to suffering, potentially reflecting increased interconnectedness and access to diverse perspectives. This evolution in moral language could shape future societal norms and ethical frameworks. Conclusion. The ongoing journey of goodness. Ever-evolving nature. Goodness and morals are not fixed commandments carved in stone. They evolve continuously with human nature, culture, and historical circumstances, adapting to new challenges and insights. From cooperation to ethics. From early humans sharing food for survival to sophisticated philosophical systems debating universal principles, morality reflects our deepest social bonds and highest aspirations. Navigating modern challenges. Understanding this evolution equips us to navigate today's moral challenges with empathy, wisdom, and insight. We can learn from history while building new moral frameworks for emerging dilemmas. Let us embrace the shared human journey toward a better, more just world. The story of morality is not finished. We are writing its next chapters right now, through our choices, our compassion, and our commitment to expanding the circle of moral consideration to include all of humanity and the planet we share. The arc of moral progress bends toward greater inclusion, deeper compassion, and wider justice, but only when each generation chooses to bend it.